Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of COXtales from my studio right here in Miami. This next woman is a force. She's just so incredibly talented. I saw her autobiographical show, her one woman show, No Reason to Cry, on Broadway, and she just blew the roof off of the place. She has a new podcast and she has a lot of new ventures going on. So we're going to catch up with Judy Torres. Everybody, I am thrilled and excited to have my girl hang with me on COXtales, Judy Torres.
What's up, Deborah? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I wanted to catch up with you because the last time I saw you was on Broadway in your incredible one-woman show that was, Judy, just so revealing and so vulnerable. And we didn't get a chance. There was so much of, there were so many people. It was a real frenzy, and we didn't get a chance to like really talk. But I wanted to get, I wanted to get just some intel on, what that process was like, putting the show together, and then really being so naked on stage with all of your emotions and your story. That was really super inspiring. And then tell us about what you plan on doing with the show after the pandemic, or when we get out of this pandemic that we're in.
Right. Well, I had been talking to my friends about doing a one-woman show for the longest time. I love watching John Leguizamo's one-man shows and stuff like that. And I felt like I want to do it too. And so I was talking about it, but I wasn't doing anything about it. And so finally, my best friend, who's also the executive producer, David Miskin, said to me, I'll make a deal with you. You write the show and I'll produce it. And I didn't believe him, but he really meant it. And so I realized that all the excuses I was making before were just excuses. I kept saying, I don't have the time. How am I going to do it? How am I going to afford it? And when you really want something, the universe will show it to you. All the right people will come into play, Right. And so I started writing it. And a year later, there we were, No Reason to Cry, the one-woman show by Judy Torres at the Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. And it was really, we kind of rushed it. We didn't do the traditional way that theater really does it. Because
like
I really
an out-of-town tryout and then...
Right, we didn't do any workshop or anything because I thought my intention was just to do something brave as I turned 50.
Talk about bravery, girl. Damn. I was sitting there like it's one thing to talk about your hits, you know what I mean? And, your work in the industry and the time that you were out, freestyle, I mean, we can get into all of that, but I think that it was really just really brave to go up there and really talk about all this personal stuff that helped to shape you and change you. That's what I took away from it. I thought it was really beautifully done.
Thank you. Well, first of all, it was terrifying because I really thought it was just going to be one night, and then one night turned into two nights, and we sold out in less than 45 minutes. And so the theater called back and said, you have to do a Sunday matinee. I'm like, oh, okay. So we did that, and then it turned into 4 months. And it was the scariest thing I ever did in my life. And
that's how you know it's right.
By the way, I saw you in Aida and I saw you in Jekyll and Hyde, and you killed it in Jekyll and Hyde. I was in the third row thinking, go Deborah, go. And when you were singing A New Life, first of all, that song for me is one of the hardest songs to sing. Right. And the hair was standing not just in the back of my neck and on my arms, but in my nose. It was like pew. It was like, oh my God. And so to know you were in the crowd that night just added to the level of fear. Like, holy crap, Deborah Cox is in the house. But I just think going back to listening to Oprah many years ago, Oprah kept saying, everybody has a story. And I
Yes.
just thought maybe it's time to tell my story. 50 years is a good chunk of
Yeah.
history, and I just thought it was time. And it was scary and it was hard,
Yeah.
like doing that like over and over again, especially like reliving the worst times of my life.
Yes. Yes.
Um, you know, talking about getting raped on my 16th birthday wasn't fun,
Jesus.
but I just felt like,
But like it needed to be told. It needed to be told
yeah, because if it
because
happened to
that's
me,
your
it happened to
truth.
somebody. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And we were actually planning to bring it back. We were going to do one weekend in the Bronx for
Mhm.
free just to give back to the community. We
Yeah.
were supposed to do that in the beginning of June. But then this
Mm.
pandemic hit. And we were also searching for a new theater because we're going to bring it back. And the
Right.
pandemic hit again. So
Oh,
I'm thinking 2021, 2022,
yeah.
something like that. I'd like to bring it back. So
Yeah, you absolutely should. And I'm happy to
thank
hear that
you.
you're moving forward with it because I think a lot of people will be blessed by it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
thank
They're
you.
going to see themselves as, I mean, they'll see themselves and they'll be really, really inspired. And I think that your story really just is, is one that needs to be told. I mean, people have no idea the levity of just your story,
Oh,
and so
thank
it's
you.
it
Yeah.
was really beautifully done. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was,
So
I was excited to bring it back because I had hired a voice coach to work with me because I told her it was
mm.
good the first time, but I want to sound flawless. I want to be like Deborah. And so I was working hard and I was excited like I could bring it back new and improved.
Right,
So
right.
that's all right. Time will tell.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just wasn't
and
meant to
it's
be right now.
no, it wasn't meant to be. And I think there were other things that needed to happen, and I think we need to bring back a different consciousness just in this country. You know what I mean? And I think this
Amen, girl.
pandemic,
You're preaching to
yeah,
the choir.
right? Yeah. I think I think this pandemic has birthed, the light workers of the world to bring, positivity and because we really need it. We desperately
Yeah.
need it. And so all of us are now coming out like, listen, we need change.
And I'm sure the entertainers are like we're like at the edge of our seats, like we want to just
Yeah.
perform. I had my first show this past Sunday for the
Uh-huh.
first time in 5 months,
Wow.
and it was like a drive-in movie theater where people came to see the show, but they were in their cars.
Right.
They could sit
Wow.
in lawn chairs outside, but they had to maintain social distancing and stuff like that. So
Right.
it
Right.
was weird. It's just you
And
can
you can't just
tell.
like that connection, you miss it.
You can't hug them.
Yeah.
You can't touch their hands anymore. It's like
Yeah.
the stuff that I mean, that's what performing is about. It's about connecting with people and giving them a chance to forget all the problems in the world. And here we are performing, and everyone's got to stay away, and everyone's got masks on. It was crazy.
It's
It
crazy.
was
Wow.
crazy,
But I'm
but it
sure
was
you
fun.
sang and did your
It was
thing.
fun. It was
So
fun. But I think the pandemic is like, I think it's truly meant to be a pause button and a reset button for everybody, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. You find yourself kind of reliving a lot of moments and saying to yourself, wow, I have so much gratitude for everything that's gone on and where I am today. You
Yeah, I
find
don't think
that?
I don't think how I don't think we realized how blessed we had it. We
Yeah.
took for granted everything. Even the
Yeah.
simplest thing is getting in the car and coming home. It's like, you gotta wash your hair, wash your hands for 20 seconds. You
Yeah.
gotta take your clothes off. I know that
Hmm.
things are getting better in some places, but some places are not. Like New York is already in stage 4. Jersey, where I live, we're still in stage 2. We're not even close to
Wow.
getting there yet. So it's frustrating, you
And I'm in
know.
Florida. I don't know what's going on.
And it
It's
was really
like,
bad in Florida, right?
yeah, yeah. At
How
one
are you
point,
handling it?
well, I mean, girl, we've been just on lockdown, and I thank God that we are privileged. We're still able to get out and walk around and hang out in the pool or go walk in the garden. You know what I mean? Like we can still get out.
Nice.
But I know not a lot of people have that luxury, so that's why I say I
Yeah.
just wake up with gratitude,
Yeah.
gratitude,
It's
gratitude.
like
I can
I
still,
think I think about people who live in apartment buildings
yes,
and
yes,
like 2-bedroom apartments with like
hmm
6 kids and
yeah,
got
yeah.
that they got to be losing their minds.
I can't even
It's real
imagine.
hard. It's
It's
real
very,
hard.
very hard. So we want to bring a little bit of, release to them. And I know you have your podcast. You got to tell us about that.
I
Beautiful
do.
Life. Tell us about that. That's
well,
so exciting.
we named the podcast out of after a single that I had called "Beautiful Life," and it was kind of like the hit that didn't happen. It was like I'm sure you can relate. Every artist has a song that they believed was a hit that the label wasn't behind them on, you know. So, I'd say, you know what, that song's not going to shame. I'm going to use it. We're going to do a podcast. We're going to call it Beautiful Life with Judy Torres. And it's basically, I started it because I got my certification as a master life coach. And I just decided, people were always asking me for advice, and a lot of, I would say like 50% of the fan mail I get on social media is asking for advice. So I thought, maybe I'll have a platform for it, and we'll do a podcast. I mean, everybody's doing a podcast. Why can't I do a podcast?
Of course.
And so, I have a listener usually will call in and will tell me some type of a problem, and we'll work on helping them with some advice. We have a little comic relief, and then I finish with a song at the end that helps bring that person's spirits up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And hopefully you'll be on it soon.
I will, of course. This is an exchange. Absolutely. I'll come on and hang out. No, I love that. I think I've always found it to be more interesting to talk to the people that I'm inspired by, to have these kind of candid conversations, to find out what makes them tick and what helps to make them, give them that energy to keep going, You're celebrating 11 years. WKTU, a lot of people may not know because, not all of us are in New York, but you made a transition into being a host, DJ at WKTU.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing. I did a show on Long Island for WKTU, and the program director at the time was in the audience, and one of the artists was late, and the crowd was getting a little, antsy. They were getting upset, and they started saying, "Somebody go up there, somebody calm them down." So I went on stage. To this day, I don't remember what I said. I said something, and I tried to make a joke, and I'm not a good joke teller. I only know corny jokes. And so, but the crowd calmed down, and they laughed a little bit, and they ended up like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I left, and the performer came on, and everything was okay. So like a week later, I get a phone call from the program director. He's like, "Hey, Judy, how would you like to be part of the KTU Dream Team?" And I'm thinking, like how? So I thought he needed a secretary. Because, I used to be a legal secretary many years ago. Right. And I thought so I said, "Yeah, I can type." And he's like, "No." He's like, "No, I'm talking about on the air." And I said, "Well, that's great, but I never majored in communications." He's like, "I want someone from New York with the New York sound." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not from New York. I'm from the Bronx, And 2 weeks later, they trained me, and I was on the air, and I sucked.
Oh my God! What do you mean you sucked?
I was so bad. So bad. I was bad. Listen, even have you ever been bad at something and you're like, you just know it, but you don't dare say it?
Right.
I just knew I was bad at it. Like, I can't draw anything. My stick figures suck. I can't draw nothing. And I was like, he's going to fire me. I knew he was going to fire me. I just felt it. And then one day I walked in, and all the music on the programming was freestyle.
Wow.
And I was playing regular formats. So all of a sudden, a job changed to freestyle. The next thing I know, I'm hosting a show called the Freestyle Free For All. And that went on for a really long time too. And I'm so sorry, when I emailed you, I said I was on KTU for 11. I mistyped. It was supposed to be 21. So it's 21 years. But 21. So much for my typing, right? But so, now it was like the #1 rated show for like 12 years. And then we had a new program director come on, and they wanted the station to sound more current. So they immediately dropped the Studio 54, which used to play disco classics.
Right.
And then they dropped the Freestyle Free For All. So I said, they're going to fire me. I knew it.
Right.
And the new program director said, "No, we're going to keep you." And I'm like, "You are?" So here I am.
Wow, look
and
at that.
I'm still waiting to get fired.
Not happening. It's only going to grow.
I've gotten better, but
of course.
in the beginning, it was bad. It was bad.
Well,
it was like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, you just have to like learn to be patient with yourself and trust yourself when it comes to certain things and new things. You know what I mean? And I think that's, look, you're probably a perfectionist like most of us artists are, which is terrible because we just don't give ourselves a chance. You know what I mean?
No.
But I think it's just, you're just using all your gifts, you know what I mean? And you're challenging yourself and you're just continuing to grow. That's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to be stagnant.
Yeah, I get bored easily. That's my problem.
Right.
You know, and it drives my husband crazy because he's like, honey, stop it already. Like you're a singer, you got the radio, enough. And I'm like, no, but now I gotta write a book and I gotta bring my show back. And because I get bored. I feel like once I've learned something well, I'm ready to do the next thing. And that's what you've been doing with your career. Oh and that's what's been so incredible to watch. Right. It's wonderful to see someone grow and evolve because what are we here for if not to learn and become the best versions of ourselves?
Absolutely. And I feel like that's how I feel. I feel like I'm growing into a better version of myself. I'm not so hard on myself. I've accepted all of my flaws. I've accepted, just that word growth because there are different stages, right? You have to understand and embrace all of the different changes that growth puts you through and requires. And,
absolutely.
Right. And so it's a journey. And I know it sounds cliche when we say the destination is the journey, but it's so true. Right?
It is. It is.
We are this journey getting through the pandemic is going to lead us to a different place. And then we're going to be at a different destination and still going through the journey in 2021.
Yeah, I think the big thing for people to remember during this pandemic is that they have a chance now. Yeah. We've literally been forced to slow down. So everybody has a chance now to redefine who they are, to reflect and reassess what their life is like and do they actually really like it? Right. Do they really like the people they're around? And if you haven't found the side hustle by now, right.
You ain't gonna make it. Right.
If you don't get it with this, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm like, I remember living on $20,000 a year. Like I remember struggling. I remember that hustle. I remember not eating for a lot. And so I'm just trying to let my children understand and have a perspective about all of that because, they just eat whenever they want. They kind of sort of have all the luxuries, of life. And so,
but isn't that what parents want to do? They want to give their children a better life than they
always. But it's hard to give them, and they're not ungrateful, but I just want them to understand that it's not like this everywhere. You know what I mean? And you have to be self-sufficient and be independent. And so through this homeschooling that we're doing, we're trying to help them to understand that there's levels to dealing with times like this. You can't just take it for granted.
I mean, it's hard, when you grow up, it's like I grew up in the Bronx, right? Yeah. And we lived in an apartment building, walk up, no elevator, no air condition. My mom was on welfare. And I remember thinking that things were pretty good. Right. It wasn't until I got in high school and I started going to other people's houses that I started saying, holy crap, I'm poor. I'm so poor, But it's good. It's good to see both sides because to me, seeing people live better inspired me.
Right. Right.
Inspired me. And it was scary to have my friends come over because I had to show them that I didn't quite have what they had. Right. But most of the time they didn't care, thank God. And so that wasn't a big deal. But I think it's important for kids who have everything to really understand or to make a friend who maybe doesn't so that they can sort of understand the struggles are different. Yes. Struggles are different.
That's the part that's going to be a little difficult just because of the social distancing and not being able to, really connect with anybody. So it's gonna take a while to figure out what that new normal is going to be,
Yeah, it's ironic that today is 9/11, right? Because after 9/11 happened, we had a new normal.
Yes.
And here we are 19 years later, we're used to it.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we go to the airport, we're used to taking our shoes off now.
Yeah.
We're used to taking it takes longer, it takes longer to get through security.
Yeah.
But years ago, we didn't have to worry about that stuff, but we're used to it now.
Yeah. We
the
used to be able to go all the way to the gate. I remember that. You can say bye to your loved ones, right?
You can hug people right there at the gate now. That's not unheard of,
Yeah.
The whole, if you see something, say something. We never said that before.
We never did.
So I'm sure there'll be a new normal.
Yeah.
And maybe, maybe we can learn something from it. Like maybe during flu season, we all wear masks.
Yeah.
I mean,
how about that?
Or maybe, maybe we didn't realize we weren't washing our hands as much as we should have been. Who knows? I don't know. You could look at it like the pandemic is an opportunity to learn a lot of lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could complain about it and cry and whine and pout, which sometimes I want to do. Sometimes I've had days, I don't know about you, I've had days where I cried in the shower. I'm like, I want to see my friends. I want to go to a restaurant. I want to go to the movies. Oh my God, I want to go to the movies. I don't want to watch Netflix anymore. I want to go to the movies.
You just want to get out. No, I know.
Yeah.
No, I can relate. I can totally relate. And I think part of this is forcing some of us to really be real and talk about it. There's going to be days where you're not okay. You know what I mean? And there's just days where you're like, you know what? It's just one of those days. Like, it's hard,
It's one of those days.
Just one of them days when I want to be all alone.
And then what's so funny? It's like during the pandemic, like all of a sudden we all had to cook like every day.
Oh my gosh!
And then the kids were, you sit down with your children and you're like, oh my God, we're looking at each other. We have to talk. It's crazy.
My thing is, y'all are hungry again. We got.
What are you doing in the refrigerator? What do you want now? You just ate. Well, you just ate. Yeah, it's been very challenging in so many different ways.
What's your favorite thing to cook? I mean, now you're cooking a lot more.
I still don't like cooking that much. I don't. But I love.
What is that?
But when I cook, I like to make picadillo, which is Cuban. It's like a Cuban, for lack of a better word, it's like a Cuban beef hash.
Ooh,
it's got,
good.
Onions, garlic, tomato sauce, sofrito, olives, cumin, ground cloves, cinnamon, salt, pepper. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And then you put it over as like some nice hot steaming rice. I'm really good at that. That's my favorite thing to make. And you can make it really quick, but if you make it right, it takes like almost an hour because you want it to simmer for a long time so all the spices get together. Now I'm getting hungry, girl.
No, I'm getting hungry too.
So I like to make those with some tostones, with some fried plantains and some garlic and good stuff.
Oh, nice.
Avocados. Yes. Maybe I'll make that tonight. And you can make it with ground turkey. You don't have to make it with beef.
Okay.
For people who don't like red meat, you could do it. You could do it like that.
That's yummy.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I think it's a cross between curry chicken and tacos.
Tacos are the best because they're so easy to make and everybody likes them.
Yeah, I like
everybody
easy.
Likes them.
Yeah, I like easy breezy. I've gotten better. It wasn't my strong suit. My husband's amazing. But I've been experimenting more and doing a lot more and getting into baking a bit more too. I love baking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my husband, if he cooks, we're having hot dogs and hamburgers and mac and cheese, So I'm like, I got it. I'll cook. Not that I'm a chef, but I do like sometimes I like to have a homemade meal because it's comfort food. It's good for you.
Yeah.
I've learned
to really appreciate the whole experience, the whole culinary experience because of traveling so much. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it was just like, gosh, I can't do another, room service, where I have this idea of something in my mind and then I get it and it's so not that. But I think this pandemic has made me really appreciate, just the art of cooking, cooking with the family, doing it and making it an activity for everybody,
Yeah, making it an event, which we don't do
Yeah,
it often enough. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question to ask you, right?
Uh-huh.
How do you feel about performing virtually? Because I know both of us have done that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Has it
I've
been
done it.
easy for you? Hard for you?
It's
How do
been
you?
hard. It's been hard. That connection is really, really big for me. I mean, I can do it and I've done it, but it's such a different experience. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like
Just
you don't have that energy of the
you
crowd
just don't have the
getting you
vibration,
excited. Right?
right? It really
Exactly. Yeah.
feels like
Yeah.
recording a song, like being in this booth and singing, you know what I mean? And trying to
And getting
conjure up
no
whatever it is.
feedback,
None. Yeah, that's
and
what
you're
it
like, how
feels
was
like.
that? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like performing virtually is like sexting.
It's just like
It's like sort of fun,
sort of
but it's
fun,
not.
but
It doesn't take place at the real thing.
it's true. It's true. That's so true. Yeah, I think that it's gonna take a lot of getting used to. I know for me, I have to find ways to connect. Like I need, maybe they should maybe a Zoom call with a bunch of people, or yeah,
At
I don't
least you
know.
could get some of this.
Some kind of, yes, child. I like that. I need validation.
Yeah, yeah. You
No,
do. I think it's true. It's like it's weird. Like
it's weird.
we do it because I think most of us do it because we love it. And I think there's a small part of us that really wants validation in general. I don't know if we didn't get it growing up or something. And so that applause is like really important,
It's really
you know,
important.
or
Yeah.
even not even the applause, but the smiles
The
and
smiles
hearing
and that
people sing
twinkle in the
along.
eye,
Exactly. Yeah. That's
that
everything.
the face that they make when they recognize a song, like, oh, that's a song. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just something
Yeah.
as simple as that is makes a
Yeah.
world of difference. But it's, you know, we're just trying to, we'll figure it out.
We
We'll figure
will.
it out. We'll
We
figure it out.
will.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having
I'm
me.
gonna catch back up with you again and just dish and talk more. It's been really, really great just, getting a chance to connect with you after all this time
Yeah, thank you.
and
Yeah.
catching up
And
yeah.
you don't know, last night I couldn't sleep, just so you know. Last night I was like, tomorrow I'm going to talk to Deborah Cox. Like,
Oh,
I remember when you performed at Beatstock many years ago,
yes.
and you were getting ready to go on stage, and I wanted to talk to you. I was right behind you. I wanted to talk to you so bad, but I saw different people
Wow.
like, leave her alone, leave her alone. And I didn't want to get fired from KTU, so I said, so I think it's a beautiful full circle moment to be able to talk to you. So thank you for the
Oh,
honor.
thank you. Thank you, love. Be
Thank
safe,
you. You
be
too.
healthy, and I'll check back in with you and I'll go on your show.
All right. Sounds good. I'll
All
see you
right.
next
Take
time.
care, love. All
All
right.
right.
Mwah.
Bye.
Okay,
Mwah.
bye.